Greetings and welcome to Calabash Community Talk with me, Ramotse Jonathan. This is a platform where we're giving you an opportunity to talk to us about the issues in your communities. It's Wednesday today. That means we're talking to the councillors. Remember our Wednesdays, we're talking to the ward councillors, we're talking to the PR councillors, we're talking to the municipalities itself. We want to hear what are the issues of service delivery, and it's a great pleasure for me today to welcome one of the new councillors, Councillor Luyolo in the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Luyolo Nkubungu, who will be speaking to us from Ward 42 in the City of Johannesburg. Councillor, welcome to Calabash Community Talk.
No, thank you very much. Thanks to you, and good morning to your viewers.
Councillor, I just want to check Luena, how has been your 6 months been since Ogenemo officing?
Well, it has its privileges, I must say. I'm enjoying it, but it does have its downs. I must also comment on that. We've come across many challenges as new councillors, and it's something that is expected because one, the relationship we are initiating with our communities, it's completely new, and they are used to working with the previous councillors, and your system of operandi will be different from what has been happening before. In a way, people would appreciate because there will be some changes that you want to see happening. But as I said to you when we spoke one-on-one about 3 or 4 months ago, when you come in, there are a lot of expectations because they see new beginnings and a symbol of hope, and their patience will easily run off if you do not deliver as soon as they want you to deliver. And knowing how systems work, it will never be as easy as what people anticipate from you. But in a nutshell, it's a journey that I'm very much excited and energetic and willing to continue with.
You're coming into the council, which is different from what it used to be. For a long time, the council was under the leadership of your mother body, the African National Congress. You're coming in under what is now called the government of unity in the City of Johannesburg, or multi-party government in the City of Johannesburg. How, discussing with your fellow councillors, how difficult it will be for you as the ANC councillors, more especially, to deliver on what you have promised the people?
Well, obviously, it will not be as easy as we had anticipated. The multi-party coalition is having its own vision, which is contrary at some point to the vision we had. So there's always that thing, which is about these clashes in our vision. However, as the majority ward councillors, which belong to the organization I come from, we are adamant that we won't allow our people to be failed. As difficult conditions that we are in now, we have 87 wards in a municipality with 135 wards. So I'm hoping that we will try to capitalize on that strength to make sure that our people are not failed. And I don't think, even if it's not us at the helm, I don't think that there's ever a government that would want to deliberately fail its citizens. Yes, we feel that our people in Soweto are being failed in a way. We see service delivery on a hold. We see grass cutting not happening the way we want to see it happening in open spaces, which compromises the safety of our citizens. We see street poles, city power not coming in, and officials being honest to us and telling us, with the councillors, we do not have resources. We're anticipating that after the passing of the budget for the new financial year, we'll try to push for more budget for us not to have these challenges. We are having serious challenges on the ground. We are fighting on a daily basis with officials to make sure that there's implementation. Joburg Water, we're just on an induction with Joburg Water, and they are outlining amongst all their frustrations because of lack of resources as we speak. In our offices now as we speak, we do not have tools of trade, which is the first time that in 6 months' time, councillors do not have tools of trade. We use what we have, we use what we can gather. So all of those things are a bit of a challenge, and community doesn't understand how. How can you say you don't have these tools of trade? When they need a letter, you need to rush to an internet cafe and use your own money to make sure you cover things that should have been easily available for you at the office. We can't call public meetings because we don't have resources to make copies for pamphlets to call people. If you make resources, we have to go and ask in our local schools to make printouts for you. And at the end of the day, you can't request many pages because you'll be affecting the services within the schools. So when you go to a school, you must be cautious of such. So all of those challenges are challenges that we are encountering. It's very difficult, I must say. It's very different from what we anticipated.
Before I bring it down to your ward with the challenges that you're facing, as well as some of the projects that you want to work on, someone who is not in government, someone who's looking at what you're saying from the distance, can say these are the challenges that ANC itself, when it was in the parliament, in the council, was supposed to have sorted before. These are the generational issues. What will be your response in that regard?
No, I would definitely say that's not true, because I don't think there's ever been a councillor prior our term who has been in office for this long with no tools of trade. There's never been a councillor who has been in office for this long, and for the first time there's a delay in election of ward committee members, which means the ward councillor has to be in all places, attending to all challenges all at once by himself, which is something that has never happened. And it exhausts because people have challenges and they want to see somebody who will come and respond to those challenges. So as a ward councillor now, you have to be in all spaces. I'm in a ward that has almost 26,000 people, and all those people have different challenges. So you can't be there in all those places at one point. So we are working under very, very difficult circumstances. One must say this is the first of its kind. And when you get to the office, you only have your laptop. You don't have papers. You don't have printing machines. We're working on skeleton offices, truly speaking. So administratively, we are behind because we don't have resources. So this is the first time. It has never happened under an ANC administration. I'm not speaking for ANC because I belong to the organization, but ANC may be anything, but it always had this concern about the citizens. It puts their needs at first. Yes, you may have issues on corruption and all of that, but citizens were always catered for when ANC was at the helm in this municipality. And people on the ground are beginning to see the changes. They are beginning. We've had challenges where application for vegetables, which is something that I need to speak to within this interview, have been rejected, which is something that is new, because now there are new requirements, and it's frustrating the process. You see, so there are many restrictions that have been put in place that are making it very difficult for us to service our communities, because they are used to how things were being done before. And if we were now as a new councillor, you fail to meet all those requirements, they would look at you as somebody who doesn't know, who doesn't want to ask. You see, at some point they would say, why don't you ask the previous councillor, because we used to do things with him in this manner without having these complications. So in a nutshell, we came in at a very, very difficult space.
Let's bring this interview now down to the ward, your ward 42. Once you took the position as the ward councillor in ward 42, what are the challenges that you said these are some of the things that we must immediately start working on as a community?
Well, I must say, when I came in, when I was doing those public consultations, there were issues that were brought to my attention. it's still unfortunate because 80% of those issues are not issues that depend on me as an individual, as the councillor of the ward, because people have issues of the housing list, people who have been on the housing list who applied in 96 to 99. And we've been working with such people in the office, getting their records, submitting to housing, but we are not directly responsible for the pace of the response to that. The housing department has committed that that is the priority list that they should be attending to this year, and they want to make sure that by the end of this year, all of those people are allocated houses. But in terms of the pace, one would not be directly responsible for how soon that happens. People had issues of crime within our ward, crime and drugs. Equally so, my task is to ensure that I bring all stakeholders that can assist in this issue of crime and drugs and develop programs around it. And we have those programs, but as I say, the response rate to this issue, I can't say within these 6 months I've managed to curb crime within our ward. It needs a concerted effort. There are challenges where people are blaming the SAPS for failing them, and I, as a councillor, I've also noticed that there's poor police visibility within our ward. I've also engaged JMPD to come in and also assist in ensuring that our ward is safe. I've been speaking consistently with the superintendent at JMPD, Superintendent Nonjagazi. We try to meet on a regular basis to try and check what can we improve on to make sure that we try and fight this crime within the ward. We have issue of drugs within the ward that the community is complaining on. And it's a very, 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 very difficult issue, to an extent that we've tried to engage even social development to assist us with programs that we can put in place to assist the young people who are in drugs, who have given up on their lives. Rehabilitation being one of them, two being skills development for them, to make sure that when they go to rehab center, after rehab center, we create programs for them within the ward to integrate them into the society so that they don't find themselves going back to what they were doing before, don't find themselves going back to the friends they had before, just to try and create something. And these are programs that are still in place. I'm still 6 months in office, as you say, and we need to make sure that we implement these programs. And in a year's time, when you call me, I need to be giving you stats on what we've achieved within those programs that we've initiated within the ward.
Let's say a little bit,
we also have an issue.
Let's say a little bit on the issue of. Let's say a little bit on the issue of crime in your ward. And some years back, City of Johannesburg introduced what they called the ward-based MPD patroller. So, 10. I think they had said is 10 policemen per ward. Is this project still going on, and how can it be? How can you be assisted as the ward councillor to make sure that if it's not going on, projects like this are then brought back to assist you as the ward councillors?
well, if it was still there, it would have eased most of the pressure I have. It goes back to the new chief of the house at Metro Center. They've withdrawn those 10 Metro police officers. 2 weeks after I got into the office, I called the previous councillor, my predecessor, and requested the numbers of the ward commander, because there used to be a ward commander of the JMPD. And when I called the ward commander, he told me, "No, councillor, we've been deployed to the inner city. We no longer serve in wards. I'll give you the superintendent's number at the depot." So now what I'm trying to say, if we still had those, things would be much easier for us.
So bringing also to the SAPS, which is the South African Police Service. If I'm not mistaken, the police station sits in your ward. Uh, how are you, together with the ward councillors, involving them, because they supposed to have the sector policing and the community policing forums that sit in those police stations? How are you involving them in helping you to fight what crimes that you have mentioned already when speaking to us?
Well, we are reaching out to them together with the other councillors. I must say, as we speak now, there's a meeting that we're still waiting for, where we wanted to meet with the management of the police station as councillors of the wards. And it keeps getting delayed, you see. But we do meet them in our separate wards for separate reasons. However, we've not met them in such a meeting, in such a forum, hold a sit down and develop a working order and a plan to advance and improve the conditions within our wards. We see situations in our ward deteriorating, and people are now resorting to the formation of these vigilante groups, neighborhood watch. And if that neighborhood watch is not well monitored by the SAPS, we are scared that it will end up doing wrong things, and people who are trying to assist the community will end up getting arrested, you see, or those people will end up being targets, and they will not be getting adequate protection from the SAPS or law enforcement agencies for them to be safe whilst patrolling within their communities. And the concern has always been one: police visibility is very poor. It's very, very poor within my ward specifically, and this is the sentiment that is being shared by other councillors who are also within this ward, within this Middlelands area. They are complaining about the very same thing: police visibility. And I also, as the ward councillor and as a citizen, I can also attest that there are challenges, police visibility within our ward. There's a case of a girl that was that could have been kidnapped during daylight and in front of the community, and people were trying to call the police while the incident was still taking place. The girl was being dragged from a quarter selling container into a car that is unknown. She was screaming and kicking. The community was scared because the guys were carrying guns. And I was called to come and assist. I said, no, let's call the police because the situation is volatile. I kept on calling the police. I'm telling you, I arrived on site before the police were there, and the police station is less than 2 kilometers away. So I feel that lack of police visibility is making sure, is one thing that is contributing to these crimes that are taking place. There are cars that are taking cell phones from individuals within the ward, and the police should be aware of such, and they should be following it up. And there's no progress on that. There is definitely no progress on such. So we're working with a system that is very, very difficult. So it is my vision and my plan and my will to make sure that I fight until we get to a point whereby we have our people restored their confidence in our police system, because we need to make sure that it works for our citizens. We can't just give up on them and allow people to take the law into their own hands, which is wrong.
You talk about people taking the law into their own hands, which is, unfortunately, we see the trend is increasing in different committees, because people have lost confidence in policing. One of the most critical issues in the communities, more especially the Middlelands, is the issue of drug abuse. We know where the drugs are. People know where the drugs are being sold. The people know who are the people within the community who are selling those drugs. What are you doing as a councillor together with the community that you lead to make sure that you fight the issue of drug abuse?
What is nice about this issue of drugs is that I started engaging myself in this fight against drugs within the community before I became councillor. In my block, I was elected secretary of a block committee because of my contribution and how we used to ensure that we make sure that police come and account for these drug houses and drug lords within the community.
Councillor, before I forget, you had mentioned that there is an issue with application for vegetables. I don't understand what can make what can become an issue with application, more especially when they go to the communities.
Well, there's a social package has got this package for indigent families when they have funerals, where they collect vegetables by the city, which are enough vegetables to cover for funerals. That has been quite a relief for many families. It assisted a lot when they have funerals, and quite honestly, within our society, it has been something that is of great assistance. Everybody would come and appeal for assistance with vegetables, and it has been a program that is very, very efficient. So now, recently, there's been new changes to the application that have made it very strict and require people to follow trend. One, they need applications to be in by 12 o'clock on a Wednesday if the funeral is on Saturday. And you may understand that in some families there's difficulty in securing a death certificate because the body would have been admitted into a mortuary late and so forth. So it also creates a problem for us because they would come in late on a Wednesday or early on a Thursday and say the death certificate, you only received it on Wednesday evening. So now you have to tell them that we're taking chances, but it might be rejected because of it being late. And there's ESP. They want an ESP number, an extended social package program that we have for the community where they register and they get an ESP number. Before, you just put in the ESP number of the person who's applying for vegetables and it would be good to go. But now they need a person to go and do a printout of the ESP slip. And they may go to this revenue office for a printout and find out that the system is down. There's no network. And you know that people are rushing against time. And when people have got a funeral, they have many tasks to do. As much as they would wait for an ESP printout, that would take hours at some time because of the system that is down. They would also have to be conscious of the fact that there's a time limit. Once 12 o'clock hits without them having submitted, there's a possibility that the application would fail. So all of those challenges that are there now are making it very difficult for our people to access these vegetables. And there's this letter from the ward councillor that should accompany the application that is compulsory now, signed by the ward councillor. And knowing very well that we do not have resources, we do not have tools of trade. So as a councillor, you must write this letter, rush to the internet cafe, print it out, sign it out, and then compile all these other things, rush to the internet cafe, scan them, and then email them. So we have that task that is very difficult. And you can imagine how many funerals you have in your ward. So this is very
It's
difficult.
amazing that you now using the internet cafes as the councillors. But when you engage the market on this issue, what are they saying, or the department that is responsible on the issue? What are they saying when you're trying to show them the challenges that you are facing?
We are consistently at loggerheads with them because we're fighting with the department that is dealing with it. Because we easily remind them that not so long, this is how we did things, and there was nothing wrong with the system. Why change something that was working before? You see, so I'm hoping that as councillors would want to engage the new MMC for social development, Saul the First, just to check with him and get his feelings on this. He's always somebody who would want to advocate for the poor, the colored, and the black communities. So we'll try to engage him on this and hear what the colored community is saying on this, because it should be most affected, because with them they don't see it for too long before funerals. So I wonder how they are moving with this system, because this system is frustrating. It's frustrating our people, and At some point, I found myself having to buy vegetables for families that were rejected, families that had hopes that they would get vegetables. And then now, as a counselor, they look at you as if you failed them. So you have to go and from your own unbudgeted pocket and go and secure vegetables for that family. Buy them out of your own pocket, which is something that is not fair. So these are things that we are facing.
Yeah, out of 26,000 people who live in your ward, how much of them are youth, and what are you doing with youth development projects in that ward?
The majority within my ward, over 60%, are young people. And when we go to this scale of young people, now it wants one to be very sensitive, because there's this 18 to 35, which are young people that we refer to usually and normally. But we still have this 36 to 45 years that still regard themselves as young people, and they are still within that gap that needs to be assisted with skills development and youth development programs. They still feel that they are being sidelined just because of when they were born, but they still are lost within that gap that still needs attention when we speak of opportunities, skills development, job opportunities for them. So when I speak of youth, I always try to encompass them, because I feel that we can't just let them go. The youth age is very limited. They pass 35 years in no time, and we can't just neglect them if we feel they are not well capacitated to face life and go forward on their own. So I have these young people that are engaging me on a daily basis, coming with ideas. As I keep on telling them whenever I have public meetings, that these empty spaces within the ward, I do not want them to be turned into dump sites. Rather, let's work on programs and skills development programs and opportunities that we can work together with JPC to make sure that young people are afforded opportunity to utilize them. But they will need to have proper capacitation, and make sure that we give them enough skills to ensure that they are able to stand on their own, create something that will sustain them. Those are issues that I would want to see advancing in my ward. Next month, we'll be starting with e-Youth Month. I'm having a series of programs that I have in mind, and I will be sending you a schedule of such. Those programs range from, we need to have a youth seminar, but I will be having youth consultatives, whereby we'll be meeting with young people, and I want them to take charge of the development within their ward. I want them to tell me what is it that they want to see us doing together to make sure that it advances the livelihood of this ward. So I'll be having a series of consultatives, and towards the end of the month, we'll be having a youth seminar where I'll be inviting all stakeholders and departments from national, provincial, and within the city that are responsible for skills development, and make sure that they bring along all the opportunities that they are offering. Because at the end of the day, I believe that we need to make sure that all these programs that the government is boasting about nationally, provincially, and even our city, we make sure that we localize them. We make people at a local level be able to reach out to them, know who's responsible for that program, and know whom to interact with. So I'm hoping that by the end of Youth Month, we would have achieved such, and that seminar would have made an impact. Young people will attend in numbers, and will get a chance to have one-on-ones with people responsible for economic development within the city, within the province, and programs that are there nationally in the office of the presidency, to check what is it there for them, to assist them to develop themselves when they are sitting within our townships and feeling neglected without anything to do. So I just want to engage them very much so, because they are the angry ones. They are the ones who stop projects when they come into the wards, because they feel that they are left out. So we need our young people to know that these projects are not the only source of income they will get, because projects are just for a few months and then you are back to square one. What is there to sustain you going forward?
You're talking about the projects that are there, and the entire Middleland. there's been the issue of Vomatel where people were saying you can't bring this thing, whereas we are not the ones who are working on that. Kindly elaborate for us quickly before we move to the other issue.
This Vomatel was just a serious misfortune, I must say, because truly speaking, it gave us such a hassle. It's a very small project. It was a very small project. I know the issues. And knowing that we're coming from this COVID hard lockdown, most people lost their jobs. Most people are economically stranded and frustrated. When this project came in, it just brought in so many prospects. People thought it will be a relief, you see, because as we speak in my ward, this project employed 80 people, and in other wards, it's been taking 40 people. But because of the way people were hungry and people were fighting to be part of this, and I could see that there's no way to contain them. We needed them to be part of this program. It ended up absorbing 80 people. But at the end of the day, it was a project for 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks, the project is done, the poles are there, and I thought people will resist the Vuma network, but they are applying for it and they're subscribing to it, and I'm worried with how these people said these poles, this is Oshala, this is Jonjo Bonyaope, but now they are now telling me that no, we have subscribed to the Vuma network, we are clients and we are paying wala. But in a nutshell, it's never easy. I see other councillors with other projects. It's not easy in this period to have a project in the world because everybody wants to work. Nobody wants to be left out. You see. So now in Ward 42, since it's a dry season.
Let's go to the issue of electricity. Let's go to the issues of electricity. As you and I are sitting here and recording, we can be surprised by load shedding. And that's the true fact about that thing. And when the area is dark, it opens up opportunity for those who want to take advantage for whatever reason they want to do, whatever they want to do. How has the issue of load shedding or electricity cuts affected your ward in Ward 42?
Well, it's a very, very, very sensitive issue. When it comes to electricity, issue of load shedding becomes a luxury compared to the challenges I'm having. Currently, as we speak, I've got areas that have been without electricity for quite some time. We have Sintumule, there's a section of Sintumule Street, Tsakani Street and Bickley Street. People have been without electricity for almost 2 months now. And then we have Khama Street, where the cable is malfunctioning and it's affecting the flow of electricity. I have Unete Street, where it's been almost 2 weeks, people are without electricity. Umzigi Street, people without electricity. All those areas that people are consistently without electricity, and you see the weather temperatures are dropping. It's very difficult because as we speak, you'd get calls from Abogogo saying Siafa Amakaza, and you feel them. You have to feel them. They would have to affect you. You see, and you can't do anything because Eskom is not giving us any leverage now. Eskom is now very arrogant and it's saying people must pay. If they don't pay, we're not there for them. We are there for our customers who are paying. Those who are not paying decided not to become our customers. So you can't tell that to people. You can't tell that to your society when they are in this trouble, because as I tell you now, all of these streets that are affected, it's difficult to get a house that is paying in order for you to log a call for them and assist them.
How are you encouraging them to pay for services? Not only electricity, all the services?
From the beginning, from me ascending into power, The first meetings I held with the community, I was telling them one thing, guys, let's start paying electricity. Uh, the services people would pay, they were not as bad as they are on electricity when it comes to services. And now in services, we are encouraging them to pay. We told them that you used to have a true mother at the helm of Johannesburg. Now you are having a stepmother, and she's not doing things as your original
Mm,
mother was doing. So you must
mm,
perform, or otherwise the stepmother would deal with
mm,
you harshly. And some of them
mm,
have received the notices, and they've never
mm,
anticipated that they could ever get AMA notices. So I told them
mm,
that this is the stepmother. She won't deal with you with as much care as you got from your mother. So people are responding on that, especially senior citizens. They want nothing with their houses. They feel that
mm,
their houses will be taken away. So they are responding. They are coming to the office. They are registering on ESP. There's this debt rehabilitation program. They are registering on it. There's pensioners rebate. They are registering all those programs. Senior citizens are coming in, and we are advising them on those programs. We're having serious challenges where houses are left with youngsters. Youngsters don't want to pay. They don't have allegiance
mm.
to pay. They tell you ukuthi thina sivotile kanti sivotele nithe sothola izinto mahhala. So
What
we
have you
still need to
promised
instill
them?
that.
Mm,
I did not promise them anything, and I'm sure that all other councillors did not promise them. They would
yeah.
always refer to Nelson Mandela when we talk of those promises. And most of
Mm,
us during Nelson Mandela's manifesto launch, we were not there
mm,
we were not recipients of the free services. The people who were recipients
mm,
of free services are our senior citizens who are now willing to pay. They know that their
mm,
mighty Mandela is no longer there. So when it comes
mm,
to electricity, our people have to start paying. My wish is
mm,
that I even told Mr. Mjali from ESCOM yesterday that I don't want to encounter these problems next year. My plan
mm,
and my vision is to ensure that by the time we go to winter next year, everybody is converted to prepaid meters and people are paying so that it's easier for ESCOM to respond. You see, we know people are complaining
mm,
that tariffs are high, but we'll get used to it. We'll find our way, but let's pay. Let's pay
mhm,
because ESCOM is not assisting. It's not assisting.
mhm. So, Councillor,
Yes.
at the end of this financial year, what do you wish to achieve as a councillor? Yeah, Ward 42.
Well, it's sad because we're talking about a financial year that has been deferred to the new financial year by the stepmother of the city. All I'm saying is Wan had his own vision and plans, and what I had anticipated may be delayed, but I'm hoping Wuti, before the end of the next financial year in next year July, I would have achieved most of those things that are in. As I tell you now, it is my commitment that in my ward, this program of skills development and youth empowerment will materialize, and it will have an impact. That I'm sure of. I've seen many young people who are very, very, very keen on developing the world. I have NGOs that are run by young people that are very, 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 very active in the world, and I don't want to push them away from me. I said to them, even if those who are in those NGOs do not make it into the world committees, I will create a platform where I will work with them because I've seen them working for the community, and it's programs that are very, 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 very beneficial to our society. And being run by young people, it humbles me a lot. So those are people I'll be working with in my program, making sure that we uplift those who are left behind. We make sure that those who feel that there are no opportunities for them, we create them and we show them that it's all in their hands. They can get it and do it for themselves. So it is my vision to ensure that by the end of this year, there are programs that I would say they were manifested during my era and they are successful and we are measuring their success. So the skills development program is very key to me. And then next year, June, I really want to see myself have minimized the problems we have with electricity by 80%. That is my vision, to ensure that these problems that we have are minimized by 80%, because now one doesn't sleep. I'm here now, I've missed 2 calls, and I know, I can guarantee you, they are all calls for electricity. So it's issues that one needs to work on. We need to sit down with people. I know it will be a very tough winter. It's my first time in office, and it's the first winter I have to encounter, and these challenges are coming in left, right, and center. And the previous councillor, I was with him yesterday at the memorial service of the former councillor in Bramfish. And he told me that, with us as former councillors, it was easier because we knew before winter starts that in such and such an area there will be this, in such and such an area there will be this. And I kept on telling him, but you should have warned me. He said, no, it's a way to learn. Just learn on your own. Just learn on your own, so that you prepare. You see. So I said, no, maybe he's trying to make me tough, but this is very, very hard. But I'm hoping to have a way around it. But all I'm saying is, young people are at the heart of my plan for the ward, and if I can champion their interests, I know I would have done my best to empower the ward, because senior citizens do not want many things. Senior citizens, you work with social development, make sure that once in a while they get vegetables, once in a while you organize blankets for them, once in a while you make sure that they have electricity, you ensure that their housing issues are sorted, then you've covered them. They are happy with their money. As long as they see their young people, their grandchildren, doing something for themselves, then they are going to be happy and comfortable. So let's make sure that those grandchildren, we ensure that they do something for themselves. We empower them, we uplift them, and ensure that even if I leave my office in 5 years' time, I left a legacy that I can keep on referring to whenever I visit my ward. So those are issues that I am really, really keen on advocating for.
Councillor, it's been great chatting to you. Hopefully, you will be able to achieve everything you achieve as a councillor at Ward 42. We'll come back in 6 months' time or 3 months' time, or whenever there's issues in your council. Invite us, let us come and see what's happening. We're getting with the other platform, we're getting people who will be writing full-time the stories, because we want to grow this also local media that we're doing in the community. This has been Calabash Community Talk with me, Ramazay Jonas. And remember, if you want to send us issues about your council or anything that happens in your municipality, your council, email us at podcast@calabashcommunitytalk.co.za, podcast@Calabash Media Network, unfortunately, podcast@calabashmedianetwork.co.za, or send us an SMS on 08158139360, 08158139336. This show was made possible by Calabash Media Network and all its publications, such as Soweto Business Calabash, Greater Dobsonville News Calabash, as well as Midlands News Calabash. On the next episode when I talk to another councillor.